primary reason why we're here is to discuss my first week of this book, The Artist's Way. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. Let me start off by saying that I'm happy to be in 2025. One word that I'm taking into the year is be still and know that I am. And what this means for me is that whatever comes, you must love that, because it's an innate understanding that whatever experiences are happening around you, whether you consider it right or wrong, comes in and out of you. So essentially, if I am feeling a fulfillment of love inside, naturally, the experiences that I'm going to enjoy or experience is that of love, because my lens of viewing the world is that of love. So the stillness part comes from that understanding that whatever is as it should be. You no longer need to fight or be in resistance to your path, but rather as you're walking in your path, you are still and you know that I am. And that's just like a powerful mind trick to take into the word. I've spoken multiple times about it, like on TikTok. And yeah, I am heavy on that word. 2024 is certainly anything is that all the experiences that you go through are simply there to express the fulfillment that you already have inside. So if you want to change the dynamics of the reality that you see and experience every day, look within, find what is it am I feeling deep inside my soul, and then that'll be the answer to how you change your reality. And I remember last year, I often would say to my friends, I am feeling so overwhelmed by A, B, but like A and B are not bad things. I'm feeling so overwhelmed with peace. I'm feeling so overwhelmed with joy that sometimes I don't know what to do with it. I just cry. Like I'll catch myself dancing on this very same flow. And my inner child just sparks and stays, yo, we feel very safe. And that's just a beautiful moment to have. And when it comes to safety, I'm going to use that now to bridge into the artist's way. The first chapter, the first week was about recovering its sense of safety. And for me, what that showed me, honestly, I went through this chapter with so much ease without need of too much reflection. I've been writing my morning pages and doing, tomorrow I'm doing my first artist date. Pretty pumped for that. I'm not going to be documenting that because I want to keep it very sacred to me. But what I noticed was how much inner child healing I've done in the past few years, to a point that going through this chapter, I was not triggered by my past. I was not triggered when I had to affirm all these things that I consider or once considered to be bigger than myself and scary. I didn't have that small voice that told me, who do you think you are? Or you can't achieve this, whatever it is. Like it was stillness. Stillness was the key. Like meditation really works, because when I was speaking, I was truly speaking from the heart. I was truly speaking from like an inner belief that what I'm saying is true. What I am saying I'm going to become, I'm going to become that. The fear element was more so from, oh, this is so big. I'm nervous, but I'm also excited, because those are like the way our body processes those two emotions are very similar. So that's the only type of resistance I got, where it's like, oh, you're saying you're going to be this. Yeah, okay, all right. There's that element of excitement, like, okay, let's get it. So I love that this was confirming the work that I've done prior, and just like seeing the man I am now, and paying homage to my inner child to say, I got you. Like, you are safe with me. Whenever you want to come out and play, come out, let's play, you know. And I've definitely I'm definitely seeing how it's going to be getting into my creativity as well, because we really need that sense of safety, um, to fully immerse yourself in whatever creative endeavors you want to get into, because now you can experiment without the pressure of oh, this needs to be perfect, or without the old voice of your old conditioning, be it through different, like your parents, society, or your upbringing. Yeah, none of that. It's just like we are going in there full force. So that's been beautiful to see. Yeah. And in one of the talks, um, it talks about listing like be places or people, stuff that has been that prior limited your potential. And for me, I listed Zimbabwe, where I'm from, I grew up in. And what I noticed growing up, there was this culture of most people are in survival mode in Zimbabwe. Like growing up, a lot of us were in survival mode. There was the pressure to make it, but doing it through the proper channels. I think this is like very common amongst a lot of African families. So if you say, what do you want to be? Creativity is nowhere close or should be nowhere close to whatever answer you give them. So growing up, you're like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be an accountant. I want to be a pilot. Those are the things that we uploaded when we were young. So in me, not even trying, in me recovering a sense of safety, I had to deal with that aspect of my upbringing, knowing where I came from. My environment was always restricted me in terms of what I could imagine myself to be. And this is where I think as a young person, please travel. Please allow yourself to immerse yourself in like different cultures, different like types of thinking, travel a lot. It really helps you because once I started traveling, like I remember my first time coming to Cape Town, it was a whole different vibe, a whole different thought process. And I started meeting younger people and seeing their the ceiling that they had created for themselves in terms of what the possibilities they could accomplish for themselves, and comparing it to my, it was like miles apart. And I'm like, man, that is so cool. How are you thinking like that? And the more I did that, the more I expanded the way I viewed the world, the way I viewed the possibilities that were in my path. So I really saw how much my upbringing was a source of my own limiting beliefs. And that was also really nice to see. And like I said, survivor mode family, it also is a part of that because family, you want to please your family. You want to be a provider, especially as a man, like you want to provide. There's no comfort in seeing the people you love suffer. And when you look at your dreams, you think, oof, this is going to take time. Creativity. How is creativity going to actually put food on the table? Yet we live in a world full of it where the most media we consume is based off of creative works, and we see people making a living off of that, but still that was not an option within that environment. So I'm so glad I took myself out of that environment as much as I could, and not just take myself out physically, but mentally as well. I've changed how I think. I've changed my limiting beliefs. I've started asking why do I believe this? Why do I do this way? And I've stopped judging other people's ways of doing things. I think that's where a lot of us get lost, is when you're always looking at someone that does something else differently than you, and your first response is to judge their way of doing it, to say, that is completely wrong. You must do it this way. Anytime you see someone doing something differently than how you would do it, it's an opportunity to learn, because you will learn so much by simply having a heart to and mind and initiative to understand why do you do it this way, and just simply having that childlike wonder for like, whoa, this is how you do it. And then you learn something, and then you find what works for you in the process. It's not a invitation to say, leave your own beliefs, leave your own identity for someone else's way of doing things. No, no, it's an invitation to add on to your resources, because by learning how things are done differently, you become a better problem solver, which is also what creativity is about. A lot of times we are creatively solving problems in the world. So that was really amazing for me along this journey. And I love that for myself. And speaking about creativity, this my favorite quote from this book was they have present 10, or rather Julia presents 10 spiritual principles that are the bedrock on which creativity, creative recovery and discovery can be built. And number 5 spoke so much volume to me. It says, creativity is God's gift to us. Using our creativity is our gift back to God. And I was like, oh, oh, let's go, boy. Oh. And it really like slapped me in the face because I'm also in the process where I quit DJ. And quit in quotation marks. Basically, I've retired from doing live shows and I did it for 2 years. And a lot of people were trying to box me in and saying, no, why are you doing this? You could be this, you could be that, or none of that. But I'm like, no, I know my journey. I know myself. I know why I chose to step out and do this DJ thing. Part of it, why I was also very free to give it back to God. So for me, it was like, thank you, universe, for this wonderful, memorable experience where I learned more about myself, more about my strengths, more about getting out, being seen, being messing up in front of like 100 people, picking myself up, all of those things. Thank you so much. Those experiences are so valuable. And I am so fulfilled that I am grateful. And here it is, I'm giving it back lovingly. So it was like, that's why I love this quote because it made so much sense into my journey, even DJing, because I was like, I am very fulfilled now. And why I say in quotes is because I want to venture now into different forms of DJing, curating more recorded content over live shows. If I ever do live shows, it will be being highly special and probably like private events. But I am fulfilled now. I don't want that DJ title to be what defines Osvaldo because I've seen a lot of people, as soon as I started DJing, everything else I did in my life was like put aside. It was like, oh, Mr. DJ, everywhere you go. You know how like African parents, oh, Mr. DJ. Anyway, I found that really funny to say all these things that I've put so much effort and work into were not recognized. But this one thing became the it thing. And I saw how easy then it becomes to be boxed. So based off of that understanding that our creativity is our gift back to God, back to the creator. And I love this book when it uses how it demystifies the term God so that it's very open-minded to everyone. It's not you hear God and you're like Christianity. It's like she uses the term good, orderly. Oof, I forgot. Good, orderly. Come on now. Yeah, so the term is for God is good, orderly direction. Direction meaning flow. And that's the acronym she comes up with for God. And I was like, that is so beautiful because very inclusive, especially when you understand if for myself, rather coming from a place now of spirituality that I'm in now, I was like, that is deep. And God being the great creator, the great I am. So that's why when I started this video also, I didn't go, I am God. I didn't finish that because the I am has more depth. We can also embody and commune with God when it comes to the I am. So that was pretty exciting, that journey of DJ and being to where I am now. And the creative endeavors I'm taking on for this year. That's also why I got this book. It's because I know who I am becoming and I need the right tools to be prepared into stepping into that that I am becoming. So pretty excited for that journey. Um, the other thing that was a revelation in week 1 was understanding my source of creativity. So during the task, there was a lot of time traveling where they ask you to time travel back into what someone might have said about you, words of encouragement that you received from other people in regards to your creativity in general. And in doing so, it was the first time I acknowledged that I've always been a creator. In fact, like all of us are creators, but we sometimes forget. And I noticed when I looked into my childhood how much of a creative I've always been. I looked into job applications, my CVs from the past, and most of them, I'd always mention when it came to hobbies, I'd always mention I love the creative arts, exploring creative arts, and that would encompass dance. I really enjoyed dancing. I used to dance as well, and even like battled as a dancer. I still love dancing. Like in my free time, I literally am dancing in this room, like I said, mentioned earlier. And I enjoyed music a lot. I'm not even talking like surface music. I go digging for like music, like new music tastes. Like you can't even box me when it comes to I love this one genre of music. I like multi-genre. I know I love music so much because I've been scrobbling on Last FM since 2013. Like that's when I discovered it, and that's when I also had a phone. But even before then, I looked at my CD collections. I had gang collections, always finding new pieces of music. And in almost every activity that I do, there is some form of sound in the background. Even now, you can't hear it, but there's like music playing in the background right now because I really love what goes into making music. And even the DJ journey, one thing I learned, and I was very fortunate enough to have this experience. Shout out to the Tandy Triad. So this is one thing I learned as a DJ from her. There was a day she invited me to a studio, and I was like, yo, I felt very humbled because I'm like, I'm still new to this industry. How am I going to a top producer, internationally touring DJ's studio for vibes just? I was like, this is so awesome. I get there, and the biggest lesson I learned because she was going through her files, like old files, stuff she's been working on for like since 2 years ago, and started working on that. I learned that you have to allow the arts, the creativity to marinate. Like that is so important, like allowing the creativity to marinate. So pace yourself, pace the art. Do not rush it. You started working on an old song. We actually worked on two different projects, one from scratch and one that was from 2 years ago. The one from scratch, I remember she just did a few things and I was excited. I was like, oh, this is ready to be released. Release it today. It was like, no, it's not. And we spent another 5 hours working on that project that I was mind blown to see where we had started versus where we were now. And as a beginner, when you don't understand, you get wild so easily. That night was like mind blowing. And then when we opened another project from the 2-year-old project, right? When she played it, I thought it was ready for shipping. And we started cooking on it. Rather, she started. Don't say we, like I was doing anything. I was just like the hype man in the background, like, ooh, this sounds great and everything. But she started marinating and adding more spices to this song. And that's when I learned you really have to allow the arts to marinate. I've started taking the same concept into my own creativity where I sometimes get so excited, like I didn't take a video today. I want to post it now. But giving your art time to marinate, giving yourself time to find more different places to inspire you to create, finding different resources, even growing and coming back makes you like cook your artwork more, makes you cook your creativity more. And that was a very big lesson that I myself was like, I am grateful for this experience. That was humbling to the core. So I started to take that and use it across based. I'm trying to. I'm on the things that I am like, this really matters as well, give it the time it needs. I've had a project so far that's been sitting for over a year, and I'm just letting it cook in the background. I haven't like shared it with the world yet, but I'm ready. And as creators, I think we really need to consider that aspect of allowing our arts to marinate, not to leave it, but to give it time to cook itself as we are also growing with our art. But at the same time, if you're someone who's, because a lot of creators do this where you don't want to post. That's why I'm so was also saying I'm starting this channel, just going head in without thinking too much about, oh, I need a camera, I need all of this, etc., etc. No, just going in. That sometimes can block us. So if you're someone who's now have a rhythm and are consistent and are playing the long game, I think this is good advice to take on where you just allow the art to marinate. So it's been a great week so far. The morning pages, I definitely see how they help. They're a form of like therapy, they're a form of like shadow work as well, where you're like just brain dumping first thing in the morning. And it's so crazy. Like the amount of thoughts that you have in the morning. It's like, yo, this is a brand new day. My mind should be fresh. It should be nothing out of my mind, but you brain dump and then you go about your day. I really love that. And I love that it's not pages that you go back to and read. She makes emphasis on you never going back to actually read them, like filing them somewhere where you forget. So those have been very therapeutic alongside with my daily meditation. It's been a banger. And I can see how in the long run, this is going to just up the game for me in the most beautiful, poetic manner there is, because it's just bringing everything, all the habits together. So that's been great. So going back into what I've learned about my creativity is that my roots have always been there. And I know my mom encouraged her. She's paid, like at one point, she'd pay for like guitar lessons. I wanted drum lessons. I don't know how to speak up for myself, but I learned so much from those guitar lessons. My mom would get hyped over the smallest things, that the artwork I'd draw, the digital art I'd make for her. It was very encouraging. And I also remember my dance instructor, Sharon Gresham. You are amazing. Like, you ever get to see that sick future? You are amazing. And you like really instilled so much self-belief, inner self-belief in myself, especially like during those times. I was very young when she was a choreographer. So I learned so much from her. But I was very young and going through the most. So, when you're young, any small thing that happens in the grand scheme of things, to you, that's the biggest thing happening in your world. And to have people that are just there to give you and implant a word that says, hey, you are actually dope, means a lot. Because when I was writing these things to try and remember what things were said to me in my life, that was the first name that came in, pat. And I was like, yo, this is actually quite dope. And what I loved about creativity is, one, it shouldn't be boxed. And why it shouldn't be boxed is because all of it can feed into a different direction you want to take. So it might not be dance lessons. It might not be just like doing dance classes, but that's the principles, the lessons still stay with me and can be used in other ventures. So that's the very beautiful. So thank you so much if you made it to this end of the video. Hopefully my journey inspires you to also do the most in 2025, to work on yourself, to work on your creativity, and to birth forth whatever's being in your heart. For long, I wish you a blessed and happy and fulfilling 2025. I want to say cheers. See you on the next one. I'm gonna come with a better tagline to actually end this videos. So yeah, for now it's just on some cheers. All right, bye. Oof.
Yo, did you hear the bones cracking? Child, I'm getting old.